In this presentation, we look at maze escape as a gameplay problem. So maze escape as a game is really similar to the search problem. You'll be placed in a starting point in a maze. The maze will have walls and paths, and your goal is still to find a path from the starting point to the exit. However, to turn it into a game, I added an adversarial component where now this time the player is competing against a monster that will try and catch the player before the player can reach the exit. For how the game will be played, the player and monster will alternate taking turns. Each of their turns will consist of a move that the player or monster makes into an open and adjacent cell. A special rule for the player will be that they're not allowed to occupy the same cell as the monster, otherwise the player will lose. The state that we'll keep track of is the current positions of both the player and monster in the grid map, as well as whose turn it is. Both the player and the monster can move left, right, up, or down, no moves diagonally. The win condition for the player will be reaching the exit before the monster can catch them, and the lose condition for the player will be if the monster catches them before they're able to find their way out of the maze. For our gameplay solution, I went with the minimax algorithm. So for our heuristic function, we'll use the Manhattan distance between the player and the goal, as well as the distance between the player and the monster. So the player's optimal move is going to be to try and minimize their distance to the goal while maximizing their distance away from the monster. And the monster's optimal move will be the exact opposite. They want to keep the player away from the goal and minimize their own distance from the player. So the algorithm is optimal if all game states in the game tree are explored, and this may be possible for a small maze, but for a large maze, we may consider implementing a maximum search depth or alpha-beta pruning. I believe that this is a good project because the maze escape is an easy problem to visualize and represent. I also think it's flexible and can be solved in many ways. I also think it extends naturally into a gameplay problem where different heuristics can also be applied.